So this is the reference photo for the sketch I'm videoing today. It is a Rhinonycterus naso, a proboscis bat that I took the photo in 2013 at Refugio Bartola in Nicaragua. And again, this one is another video that I took back in 2021 when I actually drew this picture. In 2013, I had the opportunity to go to Nicaragua for a bat misnetting trip with field guide, author, and illustrator Fiona Reed, who I had met previously, but this was the first one of her trips that I had been on. She's a world traveler and all-around awesome person. And somewhat kind of the inspiration for me to do these videos of me sketching, because I really enjoyed when I had the opportunity to see her sketch a bat in the field from a bat in the hand. And so that kind of planted the seed in my head that maybe other people would enjoy watching a sketch too, and maybe learning a little bit about the animal being sketched. A Field Guide to the Mammals of Central America and Southeast Mexico is one of the books that Fiona Reed has written and illustrated, and it's the definitive guide for bats in particular if you're in Central America or Southeast Mexico. Some researchers I know refer to this book as the Fiona, which I found kind of funny because having been misnetting with Fiona, I just picture myself picking her up and handing her to someone when they really just asked for the field guide. So I'd like to share with you just a little bit of the description in the Fiona, the field guide, about the proboscis bat. The description is that it's tiny. Upper parts are grizzled, gray, brown, or yellowish, with two faint, wavy, cream-colored stripes that extend from shoulders to rump. The underparts are pale yellow or grayish. The fur is long and fluffy, and that naso that it's named for is a nose long, projecting well beyond the lower lip. The membranes and facial skin are blackish, with tufts of pale fur on the forearms and the tail membrane. It does not have wing sacs. The white-lined sac-winged bats, Psychopteryx species, are darker in color with naked forearms and more prominent wavy lines on their back. And just a little bit about their behavior. They roost in groups of about 10 on exposed logs, tree trunks, and rocks, always near or directly above water. When roosting, the individuals usually form a single vertical line and can be difficult to see. If disturbed by day, the group flies together to a nearby roost. Their small size and fluttery flight gives the impression of dark moths. Activity starts early before sunset. Groups usually forage within 3 meters of the surface of slow-moving, shallow water, feeding mainly on diptera, including mosquitoes, and other small flying insects. The echolocation calls contain a constant frequency component at about 100 kilohertz and are less intense than those of others. A single young are born once a year, early in the wet season. And then just some of the things that bat researchers use when identifying species when they're misnetting. The forearm length is our number one when we were misnetting. This one has a forearm length of 36 to 40 millimeters. Their weight is about 3 to 6 grams. It was on our second night in Nicaragua on February 25th, 2013 that we first saw the proboscis bats. I was checked in to room 6 of the Refugio Bartola with my friend Jill, and we put up a mist net, and we learned how to remove them safely from the net and how to put up the nets too. And after dinner, we kind of just wandered around for a little bit, and lo and behold, there was this proboscis bat in the alcove kind of on the wall there, just at the Refugio, between number 6 and number 7. So I had a bat neighbor. Fiona put a scope on it. That's why there was kind of a round circle in the photograph that I took. That I took the photo just with my phone through the scope. So it turned out fairly decent for being a 2013 iPhone. We did see 6 proboscis bats that were roosting in the common area as well, on kind of a thatched roof. We looked for some frogs before bed and found some little glass frogs. by the steps down to the river. Later during the day, on one of the other days that we were there, we did see a group of them roosting on the bark of a tree, and they were lined up just like Fiona, like the Fiona book says they do. There's a little row straight down the tree trunk where you could see 4 or 5 of the proboscis bats just kind of hanging out and right above the river. So they were very easy to spot from the boat. But I'm not sure they would be if you were on the ground because they were facing the water as well. So you'd have to be on the opposite bank probably to get a good view. So in that trip to Nicaragua, I ended up getting to see very up close 28 species of bats in the wild that I had not seen in the wild before. And I do have some excellent photos that I can look up and might be making a few of those other species into a drawing too. So I'll keep some of the Nicaragua stories for later. We did also see these bats when we were in Trinidad. Again, they were lined up on the tree when we were walking near the water, near the river there, or near, not the river, the ocean. Trinidad is an island. So we were near the water and saw the little X line of the proboscis bats all lined up. It's the perfect OCD bat. The proboscis bat does appear to be completely insectivorous. Again, eating those small flying insects with that very sensitive echolocation call, which causes it not to be trapped in most mist nets. And they also tend to fly higher than most mist nets, so they'll be up higher in the canopy, or sometimes lower if they're close to the surface of the water, gleaning some of those flying insects, such as the newly hatched mosquitoes. And I have to say, just bats in general, worldwide, they are so important, and they have so much diversity within the order. They're in the order called Chiroptera, which means hand wing. So their wings actually have 5 fingers, just like our hands do. They have 5 little toes you can see here on my proboscis bat drawing on each foot. Some species have this tail membrane. Some of them have a tail, some are not tailed, some are tailless bats. Some do not have the tail membrane. Those species that do have a tail membrane, if they are insectivores, a lot of them use that to catch insects while they're flying around. So that, I mean, if you're eating a whole bunch of small things, you want to put it in, you don't want to just eat one French fry at a time, right? You want to put them in a sack and have a whole serving of them. Well, the bats do the same thing. They use their energy flying, catch those insects in their little tail membrane, and then they can roost on the side of a tree and use their tail membrane as like a little popcorn bowl and eat at their leisure. They just kind of take the wings off generally of the insects so that they can't fly away, and the wings aren't going to give them any nutritional value either. So they just leave those and let them fall where they may. Insect-eating bats in particular are so important because their guano, their poop, instead of being batshit crazy, it actually fertilizes plants really well. It has a great phosphorus to nitrogen to calcium ratio that because of all those exoskeletons from the bugs that they eat, that I'm not a plant person, like I've said before, but I'm told that it's what plants need, kind of like Brawno. And while species are being discovered basically, I won't say every day, but every month, I would say. One time back in the 1990s, we used to say there were over 900 species of bats, but the last time I personally checked, we were up to 1,465 different species. And, well, it's been a little while, so maybe I should check again. Thanks again for watching the video. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and we'll see you next time. I did go back in later and fill in this little plank that he was roosting on later, but I didn't video it.